I am currently live on YouTube, but I'm just trying to get my Facebook up and running. Seriously, this is a nightmare, and not quite how I planned this. What's your live about? Required. Catch up. This is what slows me down when I'm live streaming, because I just don't have the time to. So, add to your post. Shit. I'll just do whatever you want to do. Live. Go on, give me money, see that's the only thing I can do. Oh, fucking hell, I don't want to do all this. No, I don't want to do this. Sorry, crack there, YouTube. I haven't come over on YouTube Live for bloody ages. God knows it's nothing more than. Right, I've got the title. No, I haven't got the title. Should have done this one live and then gone onto YouTube. I'm not coming back off because I just won't do it again. So it is what it is. So there you go. Feeling. Let's put a feeling in because it wants a feeling out of me. Grateful. Same. Wants to do this. Right, well, let me go live now. So, yes, it's letting me go. So, according to this, I am live. I can't see myself properly because I'm on a little screen. I can't see the comments in the same way when I'm on my phone. Because on my phone, it's saying, hang on, live video is starting. So, to those, right, so here we go. Hang on. Yes, got it. Don't need to do all this. I can't see anything on this particular laptop properly. It's got a white screen right down because of it. Got it. Share, customer posts. It's asking me to do this, blah, blah. No, I don't want to do that. Go away, little X. Right, I can't see who's coming on. I can't see who's there. I quite like this. I'm also live streaming over on YouTube at the same time, so I think I'm going to go over there because it's slightly larger over there. So hello to YouTube. I'm also streaming onto Crackbook at the moment as well. I can't see who's here properly. I can over here on YouTube, but so hello there, Charlie. But I can't see it over on Crackbook, and it wasn't how I was planning to come in. So I need to get back to what I was going to be doing first. So let me just close my legs. And this is how I was going to intro you in, but it went fucking wrong. Ooh, it doesn't like it. 2 seconds. Jerusalem, I'm going. And the reason that I'm doing this is because a couple of weeks ago, I bought trainers for me and my kids. And these trainers and posting has caused, I'll tell you in a minute, exactly what me and my family have been put through. Uncut hardcore. Good women pushed to the side. I got a doctor glorified fools. Fly down hoes. No respect for your own body, but expect a man to impose. Brainwash that bitch. And it don't matter how good your money. You're playing roulette with your body, honey. See, we already been scrutinized, disrespected, and victimized. Brought me a face on lies. They can't even understand the tears we cry. Refuse to accept responsibility for taking our ancestors' lives.
enough to build this land and get a helping hand. Pay attention to the results of the revolution. The continued hate from social that made the time. The president election policies was sufficient in nobody over the haters, the perpetrators, the false legislators, the down low.
Do you know who stood in this living room? Anyway, I'm just giving a couple of people over on Crackbook. I'm not even going to go on Crackbook. I'm not even going to look. I'm not even going to see who's there. And I'm going to explain something to you. Can you come and sit down? I got a new hat. Right, anyway, I've got a big line down the front of me. I've got a laptop here that I cannot get on, but I'm going to open up a document that I am currently writing for a non-molestation order. Well, actually, what I'm writing for is a cease and desist, a non-molestation order, let me just open up this and explain. As people know, I run a campaign called Forced Adoption Exposed. I haven't officially ran this campaign since July 2015, after Hayden was hung in his cell. Hayden, as you know, and I have to say quite carefully hung in his cell, he was found hung in his cell. Whether he hung himself or whether he was hung, an investigation was concluded that he hung himself. However, Hayden wrote out to a forced adoption community only days, well, the day that apparently he hung himself. And he wrote to Celine, and Celine was one of the first people that I ever met when I came into a boat of families whose children were taken by social care. Even my dog was just on. Dean is sick and tired. I'll just turn and change my cap over a minute. Dean is sick and tired of hearing about forced adoption exposed. He has been sick and tired of hearing about it since the very day he took me off Downing Street and told me to get away from it all and away from a network of people who were part of something that I didn't understand. Dean took me to a nearby restaurant in Chinatown, and I was introduced to somebody that I can't remember who they are, what they were about, and I wasn't allowed to know. I just know that I was told that I had taken things as far as I needed as an individual who was on my own, who would be considered in the business world a sole trader. That means I work for myself, I wear the hats, I'm self-employed. I have to write these things called tax certificates. Tax are usually submitted by every April, and they have to be done by some, I can't remember what date it is, but it's a date in January. I find, as somebody who is diagnosed with autism, whether it is the autism or whether I have trauma is another matter. Nobody has ever really ever asked me the questions that someone like me should be asked. Like, Kelly, how does this condition, hypermobility EDS, affect you? So as you can see, I'm currently seated, my chin on my hands. To me, this is particularly comfortable. To my son, Elijah, who, if he's just resting his hand, will rest it either that way or that way. Either way to him is completely comfortable. He will put it this way or this way when sitting down. My shoulder, as you've just heard, is crunching, and this goes on in every joint in my body. And my muscles overcompensate because they have to work 10 times as hard for the ligaments that are stretched. And this and the symptoms of said this, putting my hands down. Now I don't have pull double jointedness in my arms or my legs, but I do have other factors that come into a cluster of diagnosis that come under hypermobility or flexibility or something else I can't remember. These all come under a collagen deficiency in my DNA. Every single one of us is created with our own blueprint. That blueprint exists in our DNA. That comes through our chromosomes that creates us, which becomes the 24 chromosomes and 24 chromosomes that create us. And we are either an individual soul that comes into this world, or we come in by a twin set or growth, which can either be monodizotic or dizotic. And that means they are either made from one egg or the egg splits into two or off. And that's fragmenting and creates, obviously, said children. With my dog, he's obviously a lot more than us. And as a human being, as a female spirit, as a female entity, as a woman who came from said man, so they say in the Bible, that has been edited and changed for people to be manipulated and controlled. But the Lord exists, and he is who he is, and Jesus is who he is, and people all over the world were separated at a time that people tried to achieve reaching the Lord, so to say, and he divided us all upon nations and divided us through language, and that was his decision to do, according to the Bible. I can't sit here and talk to people through anything other than my own experiences, understanding how I have come to understand some of the traumas that I've had because of the way things were dysfunctional for somebody like me who was conceived to a 15-year-old, who was brought into the world by a 16-year-old. So I already came into the world to the persecutions that already existed in a framework where we as a Western culture and society are raised, if raised, said that me as a woman will leave my father and go to my husband. Me as a woman, my husband is my breadwinner. And as I said in the media in 2010, that the system was my breadwinner because I was a single mother. Not only was I a single mother, I was somebody who has a condition that warrant me having what was called a healthcare plan. And that healthcare plan, any person that I work for has to work around legally my healthcare plan because that is what keeps me managed. And that's what keeps my framework. Now, when you go through the education system, they take things up to 18, obviously university, and they used to be called special needs education. It's now healthcare plans, okay? Now, these healthcare plans don't exist further on. And this is where I came in years ago talking about people who have a chromosome missing and they have a condition called Down syndrome. I love Down syndrome people, by the way. I fucking love them. I think they rock. They've got wicked personalities. I don't like to call them Down syndrome. To me, they are just the person who has the name. But they deal with so much persecution and so much misunderstanding. And there is somebody who has this chromosome missing and this label who has raised a child and done really well. And there's an article about him. And when I first tried to understand this multi-agency framework, I was at church one day and this girl who has Down syndrome was really upset because she wasn't allowed to be at the birth of her sister's baby. And she was told that she wasn't allowed to go near the baby, she wasn't allowed to hold the baby, and that she didn't like that everybody felt that she was scary to a baby. When she was excited, she was joy, she gets excited. Now, from a social worker's point of view, if the baby was sitting in her arms and cried, she could throw it like a dog. She wouldn't necessarily understand the consequences of this. However, I made the decision on this particular day to put a framework around her and allow her to hold faith. All above board, done people around, things like that. And I was there and stood to the back, and I also had somebody literally right at the front of her with arm cradle under faith with her, and that was my friend Sue. And I also had her mother and her family stood around to do this as if it was a wow, the baby's coming to the world and how she would deal with it. Obviously, Faith didn't cry. She was really happy. It was really lovely. And I only felt that a couple of seconds of this was enough. And hey, I've got to feed her. This isn't something you can do right now because obviously I feed her this way, but you can come and sit with me while I feed her and things like that. But there are some boundaries as well. And I've had towel and things and explained, what was going on, things like that. Now, I don't like that people with Down syndrome were getting shoved into obviously backpacking. We don't see them in backpacking now either. I started my life with my father being one of the first people who brought jiu-jitsu to the UK from the Eastern philosophies into the Western philosophies with a guy called Mike Shipley. And I was raised with a guy who is pretty much like my godfather. In my dad's martial arts world, he was like the godfather to me. In my dad's building world, it was Simon Compton. If in his DJ, and not his DJ's bouncing sort of world, I had quite a lot of different mentors and different people around me. But in his building world, he basically built the independent living houses for people who were labelled with high-end learning difficulties. And this was a woman here, not far from here actually, but in Headley Down and Hindhead. And as I've said, she's had two different spaces, and those predominant spaces were one for obviously what we consider geriatrics, and the other one considered over 18s independent, hospitals. They're institutions. When I came here to Portsmouth, I was sent for a psychiatric report because they obviously wanted to reassess the one that was done in Flintshire. For those that know, when Aaron and Faith were taken, it was done based on a DSM-5 well, it wasn't even a psychiatry report, it was a psychologist, and she was only, I've got her CV, but she wasn't qualified to do the assessment that she did on me, and she didn't like it because she tried to discredit me for my degree in psychology, which behind me is up by my states is my graduation photograph behind that. Because it said in my medical notes that I had been medically suspended from university and I'd gone for an appointment, but it didn't say anything after that because my GP never heard back from the university in response. It was me that just got told to come back to university and I could go in these particular things based on my vocal cord dysfunction and if my airways closed. And I always had a first aid responder who did understand what I was dealing with on my worst case scenario, okay? So if you're filling out a DLA form, which is now PIP, personal independent payments, when I first started this, I refused to be classed as disabled. The reason that I didn't want to be called disabled was because it's a nasty label to live with. We're all disabled. People who are old that can't use the internet are now currently disabled in the stages of the Great Reset. Everything is on the internet now. If you, doesn't matter what you're doing, whether it's your tax, whether it's your passport, and this soon is all mine. Now mine's not blue. Mine is still a United Nations passport. I still hold a passport that still governs us by the United Nations, even though we're out of Brexit. Will that sustain with the fact that the video that was taken of me was done in the United Nations? The United Nations are the people who have employed, I wouldn't necessarily say the word employed, or contracted. I would say that the business private sector people who run the World Economic Forum and all the things like that. So Davos. So one of the things that I got distracted by was obviously Davos met, I think it was 24th, 27th of May. So basically the whole of May got taken away from me. The whole of this year has been taken away from me. The whole of the last 7 years has been taken away from me. And the whole of the last 9 years since Aaron and Faith were taken have been taken away from me. And the whole of the 12 years since I first launched what was Challenge Britain, then on to Step Up Britain. That has all been taken away from me. Now on TikTok, I shared, and one of them got taken down, but 3. I've got trauma at the moment, and I'll tell you why. Wait, 2 seconds. Wow, fire brigader at my neighbours. I hope everything is okay in the name of their faith, Allah, and mine, Jesus. May everything be okay at my neighbours right now. That's the fire brigade out the back of mine. So anyway, we as members of the residents of our area seat under a council. The council, I'm reading to see, I've got trauma, okay? And I am currently, that's just traumatized me, only because I have to go through some stuff because of what has happened collectively since I went to London. So let's go back. The reason that I talk about forced adoption is obviously I was a forced adoption in the fact that even though the adoption, I believe, either never got signed or was annulled. I don't know how far my nan got with the paperwork, whether it was officially done. All I know is I was born Kellie Hill, which was my mum's maiden name. And then when my mum and dad got married when I was 3, I took my dad's name, which was Kellie Avis. So my original name by my father is Kellie Avis, but my original name by my great-grandfather's bloodline is Kellie Pierce. I have never taken that name, but that is the name of what would have been my granddad's real name had his father taken responsibility for him rather than him taking his mother's name, which gave us Avis. And there's another story in between how we got Avis. I don't really know. But anyway, I'm still over on Facebook. I'm not aware of anything that was going on over in Facebook. I'm actually sitting here quite safe because I've got Charlie here, and Charlie is local, and Charlie does see me around, and he's going to probably know when I continue talking that a lot of the stuff that is being talked about me online is perjury. And if they took this into court and stood by their conviction that they believe that this information is true and they stood by that on oath, they would go to prison for perjury. Now, there is a difference between people talking about people. I open myself up to this by coming here, right? Every single person in the world who is online doing any form of what they consider social media influencers. I'm not running my social media the way it was designed back in 2010. I am nowhere near anything to what it was all designed about for 2010. I can hear all this stuff coming through. And I just check my neighbours are okay. Oh, it's going. That makes me nervous as well because on a paranoid scale, part of me would say, oh, is that just another way to check on me, make sure I'm in, lights on, stuff like that, and I haven't left cars still here and stuff. But probably absolutely nothing to do with me. The reason that I think this way, though, is there's a lot of, as I've done this document, let me just try and bring this document up because it's important I get to this. So as I was saying, this document that I've been creating in reaction has been a non-molestation order to prevent Hampshire Constabulary and Portsmouth City Council responding or reacting, more to the point, to any defamating misinformation, disinformation, all the technical words, slander, hate crime. They're even using the word terrorism because it's terrorizing me, literally fucking terrorizing me. I might lose my charger. I don't know if my charger is here. Oh, recovery. Bloody hell, seriously. I'm really struggling with my technology at the moment as well. As you know, in the event of all of this, my phone has either been taken if I am dealing with local people, or I've mislaid my phone and I either got to find it at the right convenient time when I actually focus on where is my fucking phone, or I've mislaid it and somebody's picked it up, but the SIM is out, the phone is off, but the battery was also about to go as I went out anyway. And I literally only would have lost it or been distracted at one particular point coming into my home. Now, and then, right, my laptop's now starting, but I think the battery is dead. Right, battery's dead. So that scraps that. So I wanted to do this in concurrent order. So I don't know the particular dates now because I haven't got them in there. But basically, an email went out a couple of months back to say that there was an inquiry in Parliament and they were looking into the whole of forced adoption. And they were interested in speaking to people of all avenues of forced adoption. I never officially got my proper writing in because it's really difficult to do that when you're trying to put together such a different framework. But anyway, the chosen dates to focus on was around 1974 to 1976. So it doesn't affect me as an individual because I'm 1978, and it doesn't affect my children, Aaron and Faith. However, I've been here in Portsmouth, and originally I was being introduced to work with the framework here based on such a miscarriage of justice with mine, and I'd made a decision with Portsmouth that rather than suing them for me actually not being correctly treated when I was born here at St Mary's Hospital and how I was treated and neglected, with the fact that I was jaundiced, I had a cord wrapped around my neck, I would have been born with hypermobility EDS. I would have been a very floppy baby. There would have been very obvious signs of different things. I wouldn't have had my hips checked. So with all of my children, when they're born, they all have their hips checked to a set different level than the normal just quick check, and make sure that they're actually in. So obviously with Faith, it was different. Hers were out. She had congenital hip. Liam had congenital shoulder, and Daniel was cool. Aaron was cool. Yeah, so Liam and Faith were the ones that were actually born with the hip with a hip or shoulder, and I'm sure there was something with Aaron's foot. Aaron with his feet. Aaron was his feet. His feet were struggling in and out. And there was something with Daniel, and I can't think what it was. He had his hips. His hips needed punting, so his hips were done. In fact, it was him that was the one. No, it was Liam that weed in the pediatrics face in his glasses, and it was. I remember it was Daniel that squealed when he did his hips. So at the end of the day, every person here in the Western world is entitled to what we call is the NHS. So the NHS is the first number that we ever get when we're born. That's your national insurance number. By law, you have to register your child. By law, you take your child and put them into the education department. By law, the multi-agency framework exists around your child. By law, your child is then fit for purpose or unfit for purpose and will be committed into the segregated options and opinions and categories that are available to them. From that point, most people will stay in those particular jobs for a 24-year period to keep the mortgage and to keep the monthly payments and to keep within the financial year. Whether you're self-employed, what is now known as the word entrepreneur, or you're a sole trader, or you work in employment for somebody and you have a job, and a job obviously just over broke. It means that you leverage your time for money based on an hourly rate, be it at minimum wage or going up what your basis qualification is. A lot of people will say, if you don't want minimum wage, don't have minimum education. I live in a world of knowledge brokers. Now, it was Apple, knowledge, things like that. But in this world, we're knowledge brokers and basically package up and put together knowledge for people so they can do that and apply it to themselves. And that can be done in anything from whether you're talking about Bitcoin, crypto, NFTs, metaphysics world, all this different stuff, right? I haven't made a decision on how far I'm willing to go with the transference of everything that's happening to us at the moment because I know what's coming. The reason that I know what's coming, and this is why people call me a conspiracy theorist, and if anybody remembers, I did a Facebook post, July 19th, 2019, and the title was Before the Walls before the walls and before lockdown, should I stay or should I go? And I was having a meltdown. I was having a panic attack on whether I should leave the UK before this all kicked off and go somewhere. And I had quite a lot of different options to go to. We had a farm available in France to us that Dean had already gone over to France to double check and everything. And he'd sustained a couple of different places over there. He also went over to Spain, secured a couple of different places over there. We were pushing for whether I was going to go on the ferry directly from here straight over to France, whether we were going to drive to Spain. I even looked at the fact that we have the house at Trinidad, which is available to us with my tree for my children that's been planted there for the last 7 years now. And obviously there were even options to move out of Portsmouth and leave here. I made the decision that I was in the strongest place because I was born here, because this is where my essence is, and this is why I made the decision to come to Portsmouth in the first place. My mum was here, but my decision was based on the fact that I was born here. I felt that that was where I came into this world, and it was the only thing that I knew solid. And whenever I fill anything out, it always asks me things like, I don't use my mum's maiden name, I use a password that I have, but I do use my place of birth, and that is always Portsmouth. So Portsmouth has always been my place of birth. I wasn't raised here, but I have visited here. I've had what's considered the days out and the times on the crossings over onto the Isle of Wight for the holiday, and I've done the normal south living that we have here in Great Britain. And then obviously I spent 13 years up north, and then after Downing Street, after leaving Downing Street and going to Bristol, and that's when me and Dean chose to settle in Bristol on land. And then when we got there, there was an eviction notice on everything to do with Spiral Tribe, and as you know, it went completely crazy. Dean was held on remand for no-fixed abode as an accusation on him prior to me meeting him. I didn't know that Dean knew that he was actually officially on the run from bail, and there's a lot of other stuff behind this, as you know. Now, at the end of the day, I was a genuine mum. The media, Kellie Cotton, 2010 to 2012, when I'd gone May, which was Richard Branson, Alan Sugar, Donald Trump, Sir Lord Sebastian Cole, and a whole list of other people who are entrepreneurs and people who were on Success Resources platform. It was Midwestern prior to them with Tony Robbins. And I have recently spoke to Tony Robbins' previous old security, by the way, who I know really well. I knew very well while I was at work for them, and I knew very well. And he was probably the only person I sat down at the hotel, which was May 2013 when I went back with Liam. We stayed on a boat down there, and I went back to see everybody to say, look, I am like 2 months to the 26 weeks trial. What the fuck am I going to do? As you know, I was shut down my Excel security the moment I got there, and there was a couple of other things, and they never ever connected or spoke to me. But I did speak to the main guy who actually speaks most at Tony Robbins, but they don't put that on the thing, and a lot of people complain about it, which is Joseph McLennan, third. And he is the one who created Step Up. Now I am the voice, I will lead, not follow, I'll create, not destroy, for I believe, not doubt, I will... Hang on. 2 secs. You don't have to forgive me, but be aware that my stomach actually really is hurting at the moment. So, anyway, there's a bit missing on the end of this, and they took it out because of business reasons, because you weren't allowed to use the word God. Now I am the voice. I will lead, not follow. I will believe, not doubt. I will create, not destroy. I am a force for good. I am a leader. Now this has changed. I obviously bored someone. They fucked off. So anyway, do what you want. I'm here to do my own thing. So I am actually narrowing down now to get to the niche of the people that I do need to be spending my time with, do need to be talking to, and do acknowledge what it is that I am attempting to do. Whether I fail or succeed, I hope in my death that my legacy continues and somebody picks up the baton and tries to do what many people have failed and died and lived, never knowing the truth, never coming out. And it is. And this Jubilee, it really is going to be a eye-opener for people. And it's going to explain to people how the Commonwealth works, why we have the Commonwealth, what the Commonwealth Olympics really is, what the Invictus really is, how the Prime Minister is actually a separate company to the Queen. And obviously this is 70 years, and it's going to make people realise, actually, this isn't really as much as we think. This is, Winston Churchill was literally only 70 years ago, just short, wasn't it? 60 something years ago. And Winston Churchill sat on the throne, or sat on the main pillar here as the Prime Minister. It was a very grand thing to do. It was all very grand and royal. And what I've been trying to explain to people all this time is we're all sovereign beings. Now, the Bible does say that we should go to the authority of governments, and he will deal with that in his time. And that time is now. That time is to be dealt with. And 70 years of her reigning is great, but she's of an age now that if she was living in a care home and she was one of the slaves, so one of the people who were just over broke for their whole lives, she would come to understand and learn how this multi-agency system framework really works. And it's going to get worse as we're having less personal relationships with our GPs, which is our general practitioner, which we can go in for a basic MOT whenever we like. From there, we get mental health workers, where we can go and talk about the things, where we can get some counselling, a little bit of therapy. But here in the Western world, to say you have mental health issues has a shame to it, an embarrassment, a confusion, a how do people judge you. It's no different than living with sexual abuse trauma. With sexual abuse trauma, there comes a dirtiness, a shame, a degradingness. You've been violated, you've been abused, and you've been manipulated, and you know that everything is wrong about it. That is something you've had to keep going through. So for a lot of people, they die with that truth. For a lot of people, that truth never comes out, and they live with it all their lives, or they may share it with their intimate partners. There may be a best friend that maybe no, but other than that, that's as far as the story goes. So anyway, I've got some items here that I want to finish up. How long have I been on? I've been on 40 minutes. So I have a passport. This means that I can go anywhere in the world as long as I obey to the governing authorities. This particular passport will confirm to you that I am said who I am. And let me just cover up my number, but I will show you that I am who I am. Not a very nice photograph. That was not long after coming on down the street. And Dean showed me a photograph of my previous passport and then this passport, and my whole eye had dropped on my right side. Now with EDS that's strokes, but with what goes on with MK Ultra, it's a sign of MK Ultra. For those that don't know what MK Ultra is, do your own research. And a lot of people call me conspiracy theory in the structure and the hierarchy of how our country works. During the Jubilee, people are going to be partying and celebrating. It doesn't matter if one person, be it a boy, be it a girl, be it a baby, be it somebody slightly under the 18 or 16 or 17, depending what law you're in, of the statutory sexual, whatever laws that exist on when somebody is meant to enter into a sexual relationship. The Bible says that's marriage, that the woman leaves her mother, leaves her father, and marries and goes to her husband. In some countries and some cultures, it's actually legal for a girl to be married to an old man and performing fellatio and oral and all forms of intimacy, a very gross misconduct. And this goes on all over the place. And over this Jubilee weekend, there will be much trafficking. There will be much slavery. And the Queen has come to learn that it's not appropriate to keep black slaves, as they call wogs once upon a time, Negroes, niggers, things like that. We live under a very white supremacy country here in the red world, right in the world. We're not the worst. Ukraine is fucking ridiculous for white supremacy. There's been many complaints about Ukraine for many years on the fact that they won't allow diversity. The Queen has created a country on much multinational diversity, but that is what the communities have created themselves. It's not something that's necessarily tolerated here, and very much of the people have hated the level of people who are classed as immigrants coming into the Great Britain, said great once upon a time. I started Step Up Britain to put the great back in Britain, and that was the pitch that I gave to Donald Trump's crew team, to put the great back in Britain. Make America great again, I think they ran there. So anyway, after that meeting, 2 months later, I find 2 police officers and 2 social workers at my door, making me go to the hospital, where they have a go at me for going no bruises, not yet, to a little boy who didn't want to get undressed and didn't want to have the unnecessary medical assessment, which is basically rape of my son. And it is. They forced my son to have to get undressed to check him over, and they didn't even get to do the rest. And it wasn't even Faith, just Aaron. Now, I don't know how many days ago it was, but I kicked 2 police officers with feet out of my home. And I want to cry. Because 2 police officers wanted to see my little boy Elijah at 12 o'clock at night, to wake him up out of his bed. And even after I said that I don't think this is appropriate for a little boy at 12 o'clock, and if you have any cause of concern, then I suggest you come back between the hours of 1:30 and 3 during the day, when my children will be available to you to speak to. But no, you won't be waking them up at 12 o'clock at night. Now, two said police officers felt that it was appropriate that when I then said, after I nearly agreed to them to actually do this, that I need to check on my children because they go to bed in their pajamas but tend to strip off if they get a little bit hot during the night, and I wanted to make sure that they were appropriately dressed. One said police officer was quite happy to go in and see my little boy naked in bed. Well, that was it. Bang, you're out my house. Across the line. I'd had 4 days consecutively of children social care at my door, ringing my bell 1 hour after my phone had gone missing. Rewind a few days previously. Rewind past my birthday on the 17th of May when I was facing my garage being taken by Portsmouth City Council. Rewind back to the fact that I'd had previous emails sent to me saying that I wasn't needed to attend London for a conference with a woman who's an MP who doesn't like me. There is a website that exists in my name. My website. And they think that they don't sabotage my career. There's my website. They took the whole of the May EDS month away from me. They claim, the people behind the website, that they're not involved in this. Yet they are the ones that have put all the disinformation on their website, which has got a hyphen and it's .com. So it's kelly-.com. They have even said, and Charlie, I don't know if he's still sitting here, but apparently my boys walk around with braces on their legs, their arms, their feet, and I call them defective and they cry wanting the braces taken off, saying that they hurt. This is not true, and any person in this local area would know this is not true. And even if my children were to wear braces, whether they were struggling with them or not, that would be down to the medical people dealing with it and me as a mother having to deal with it, just like I had to deal with Liam when Liam was born. Hey there, Charlie. When Liam was born, and at 6 months old, he had surgery done because he was born with a cleft lip. And after the surgery, he had to have his arms in braces. As a mother, this was really horrible because I wanted to take the braces off. And one day I did, and my son caught his stitch. And that's what caused the slight lick in his mouth because I allowed for the braces to be taken off. After that, I never allowed him to take the braces off until the doctor told me to take the braces off. That was the hardest thing I've ever had to do as a mother for my baby, keeping his arms in plaster cast braces that obviously I could Velcro on and off for washing. And I would take off when he was asleep, but it was done by theirs that when he was awake, he had to have his braces on, and he didn't like it. And I got him a little band to try to get him on his wrist instead of trying to take his braces off, and put some things on his fingers to distract him and things. But it was hard to do, but it was needed, and it's needed with people that have some form of medical. Some people have diabetes and they have to take injections. Other people may see that person and see the bag and go, that's a crackhead, or no, they've got diabetes. But that's your judgment and your misconception. Now, I've had this for years and years and years over the condition that I have. I have always been hypermobile all my life. I've been able to sit in the box splits. My dad knows this, my mum knows this. I have always had issues with pain. Pain hits me hard every day. That hurts, I ache, my hands hurt. Some things don't bother me so much, and it's normal range, but that range is up to me to learn. That is for me to do. That's not for people to judge or people to deal with. And bullying is a very horrible thing to do. The people on the website have caused me battles with suicide. Not that I would ever do that, but they cause me the battles because I think it's never ending. So what they've done is they are a storyteller. This is where my boys hang out at museums, but they are a storyteller. They are basically doing exactly what social services have done and edited and changed and defamed and framed and reframed everything that I do. Now, I'd been speaking previously to the police after a couple of matters had happened, and the website had created a post to encourage people to call social services and all of the out of hours facilities around here, after making lots of derogatory things that complete lies. They even made up a case about apparently Dean had taken the children from me, and he'd won in court to take Elijah and Shiloh from me, and that's how I started the new year. And I didn't let Dean come here for New Year's in the end as a result of that, because I felt that I was being set up and this was people going dump. Now, I have, you can class it. Now, if I say I have paranoia and trauma when it comes to the police as a result of these people, they've done this. And they've done this to me since the fact that my trauma was Aaron of Faith being taken. My trauma is nothing to do with my childhood past. As I'm going to prove in court, yes, I had actually had the therapy, and that therapy was over the space of 2 years. And I have the letter from Preston Safe Centre that proves that it wasn't just this whatever she was claiming it to be. The psychological report on me is wrong. It doesn't have any medical grounds. It has already been disproved by here in Portsmouth, and the whole judgment against me that the people on the website keep is all beating me with the same brush. You're basically beating me with the words and terministics of narcissist, because that's what she called me, and also saying that my disability, or whatever you want to call it, because I don't class myself as disabled. You have nothing more than a judgment on me that was wrong. And you choose to continue to defamate me, discriminate me, persecute me, interact with people, create frenzy. Even Charlie sitting here has met with me personally and told me of things that are online, which are not even this website, it's other things. I have to stop this before it gets worse, because obviously there is deep things that people can do. People can edit things, people can take things, people can change things. I was inspired in 1993 to become a businesswoman when I won an award at Ashman School, when I was actually just got expelled. I was medically suspended in my final year, as you all know. So anyway, before I go, I want to just say that I went shoe shopping on my payday. I paid the rent, things like that. I didn't get around to moving the direct debits over to my bill account, so all my direct debits have failed to go through. And also, I have overspent on my budget because of having to get Red Bulls, and I spent literally, or Monsters relentless, sweet stuff to entertain, quick foods for the boys, because it literally has been manic hell from the day that I went to London. As soon as I got back, I got a call from my housing officer that photographs had been sent about this garage, and the garage had was now then got a letter to say it was being taken. Now that could have ran over with the fact that I pre-started doing what I needed to do, because I needed some backup cash for going to London. I didn't put any out for any help. I got a really cheap ticket for us all, but I needed some money for the boys, and so Dean could take the boys off while I went over and met with all the people that were coming in and out and seeing how it went, whether I got in or not. I decided to spend the time during the meeting with Dean and the boys. Then I went back at the end. So I went and saw everybody as they were queuing and going in. So I spoke to everybody, and then on the way back. So so then I face the trauma of going into what should have been preparing for going to Alton Towers, and being, for me, that was really important, because Elijah and Shiloh really need that sealed under age 5 place and zone, and taking them to see BB's World and staying there and having the swimming and being with Dean and swimming and all of that was really important for them. Even though it was my birthday, this was my birthday for them. So anyway, so it's the 27th of April. Amber's just messaged me. Amber, don't overthrow me, because I'm fucking fuming with you, girl. You could have caused for me jumping in a non-MOT tax car with my kids fucking panicking, mate. And I also think that a lot of the people getting pissed off has been because they can't speak to me, and you've been gatekeeping. So that's also going into the investigation, and I can't deal with people who would ever do that to me. And the fact that you did that to me, I can't work with you anymore. Not in this space, because I couldn't ever deal with anybody if I'm feeling overwhelmed, having a meltdown, even feeling suicidal. I couldn't have anybody around me. This is why I can't deal with Dean either, because Dean says don't read it. Now, even the police said don't read it, don't deal with it. But I made the decision that I needed to gather all the evidence. And Amber, you were here to make sure that I had every date, telephone number, even if I lied, taking it down. Kellie said this, boom, boom, boom. Because this is all about genealogy. When Aaron and Faith were taken, this was a genealogy. And it's like, I had no laptop, they took that. I had no equipment, they took all that. I was going down to as all my child tax credits taken. I wasn't on benefits. I was self-employed. I was trying to keep money going and I couldn't. It was fucking near on impossible. And then obviously people were helping me out as long as I did things for the campaign, but not me personally. And people who were around, who I walked into this network or this boat, who say they could help, didn't help. And people didn't like that I was rocking the boat. So, and some people wanting me out the boat, and it's like, fuck me, mate. I've got kids drowning here, and I need to get to them. And and years go by, and I'm glad this has happened because it's given me an opening in. But all police activity and everything happened is going to stop, because the person on the website is trying to make claims that this is people local. One, to traumatize and gaslight me. It's not people local. The photographs that were sent to the council of the garage are the very same ones that I posted online. So the person online has taken these and shared them with the council. That's pissed them off because they've got to deal with the hassle when they've got the bathroom being fitted and a lot of other stuff going on. They don't need it. Then, of course, I then had the report put through on my car, and it wasn't the council, but it had gone to the council, and it was actually somebody here online who's done this anonymously, and the council have got that report. Then I take the boys shopping, but hang on, prior to this, I post 2 photographs, and I do this deliberately because I had the time that they were taken, just to see the intentions of the person behind the website and prove their intention on how they would post these 2 coinciding photographs. One of me was scruffing up my hair and going, ah, and another one of me is going, yeah, hi, yeah. It's not multiple personalities or anything like that, but I'm sure you want to go, ah. What else do you want? But to take the photograph that they've got of a mother with EDS, with 2 children with hypermobility, non-symptomatic to them, non-qualified people in other matters, but now they're older, there definitely is. I don't like to speak about it, breathe about it, bring it into manifestation, but I have to deal with what comes about and deal with it the way we have to deal with it. So anyway, thanks to the podiatrist, thanks to the dentist, thanks to the hand specialist, the boys have gone to mainframe specialists. Between the 3 of them, they have decided that this needs to go to a rheumatologist that is specialist in EDS. Back around the house as we go. So, at the end of the day, the website is abusing me with a public bailee based on their assumption for taking our own faith. It's incorrect. It's never been challenged, as it says. The psychological report never had any medical people, and this EDS factor has never been brought into it on the basis that all of the information is completely incorrect, even my daughter's date of birth and her middle name. Then we come down to the fact they've even got all my ex-husbands mixed up, my parents, everything, because they never bothered to get to know me. It was a case shut. Boom. Now, I'm sitting here with Elijah and Shiloh in bed. Had the person who's made these calls got away with their next stage? And isn't it lucky I wasn't setting something up? But I didn't know this is how far these cunts would go. But I'm glad I did what I did. I made the decision to go out shopping for the boys. And because I had to achieve trainers for the boys for dressy up, not play, because their trainers have now become play trainers. Welly boots for us going out with it still being raining, waterproofs, cleaning stuff. If I was lucky enough to find any trainers for me, brilliant. If not, not a problem. And then obviously if the boys were really good, we were going to go and sit at McDonald's where we sit, feed birds, blah, 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 blah. Obviously went to the church, to Oasis church community things to do all the Jubilee setup, and that's where we were going to be spending our time. But we never went back based on what's happened since. And we haven't picked up with the EDS and everything else I've left because I made the decision to not give anybody any ammunition to use against me. The whole letter that I've written, it's not a letter, it's a sworn affidavit, puts all the dates in content, everything, and I've got the fact that, I'm that on the ball for my outgoings and ingoings, and these people have completely fucked things up. They've taken the first 6 months of this year, as well as last year, the year before. They've taken my birthdays away from me consecutively for the last 3-4 years, and that's even me trying, and that's been with the police. My trauma. So basically, went to Oasis, then we went into town. We went to Waterstones first, and I didn't tag myself. Got the boys booked stuff to do all their writing, reading, or what I call their workbooks. Had a look at stuff, bit pissed off because they haven't got the book corner anymore. They got rid of that over lockdown, which is really sad. So we didn't stop in the cafe there like we would usually do. So we went straight to TK Maxx. Absolutely brilliant. Me and the boys ended up high-fiving each other as we came out. And on camera, I think the only thing that, but I'd said it to the police before they went onto the camera. I said, the only thing you're going to have any concerns with is my boys go to the toys and I quickly do the clothes. I said, but we're so used to it, hence why we separate where we go. The boys know exactly where they're going. And I went round. And the shop was pretty much empty. Other than the shop people, the shop was actually empty. I think there's one woman that came in at one point and a couple of other people, because obviously during the day. And I'm fucking glad that these people did this, and I'm glad that I did what I did. I didn't mention TK Maxx until I'd gone to 2 other shops. I had gone and got all the cleaning stuff, and then we were sitting in McDonald's. When we were sitting in McDonald's, I then showed the photographs of the shoes and posted up a thank you to TK Maxx. Then obviously I was getting to high point of anxiety being in there. I don't like it. It's too noisy. There's too much stuff going on. I had somebody at the do thing sat next to us, and we didn't go upstairs in our nice quiet place. We ended up sat downstairs. So obviously I showed the video of one said leg going. And the irony is people online, even though I wasn't mentioning what was going on, were instigating things that they knew that obviously something had been said about TK Maxx. Now, I go home, then see, Christian, then come back. Then there's an altercation with a dog, and I quickly grab Eleanor. And whether I lost my phone is another matter. But literally, in the time that it's taken me to come in, say to Dean, kids, dog, I'm going to get Christian to ring my phone. My phone was off, right? And there was enough battery for me at least to have my things on, headphones, go across, take dog for a week, come in. Then the doorbell goes, and I go, yeah, you got my phone. And they say, is that Kelly? I was like, yeah, you got my phone. And it was 2 social workers, two out of our social workers. They got hooked up, fucked off. Then I decided this is not a good thing, and I literally caught them at the top of the road, and I went and spoke to them. Dean, obviously, in the House of the Boys. And I showed them everything. I showed them all of the messages that had gone up of people that had already messaged the website out saying, I've rang, you better ring, blah, 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 warning on this woman, and the website and everything. And I said, look, I need you to do me a favour, and I need you to get this video because it's going to prove that they're lying. I said, otherwise I'm in a fight with you guys over paperwork. But if you can get that video, I said, they're not going to give it to me, but if you can get that video, it will prove nothing. Do you know what they said? Apparently I've been shouting and smacking the kids in the shop, right? I said, do it. I laughed. I said, do it. I said, go get the video. In fact, I even went in the next morning and spoke to the woman and said, look, how do I get the video? So I actually have got access to see the video soon, but it's only once I've finished all the writing up on why I need it. But I get to see it, and I actually laugh because I'm going to use it for my YouTube. I'm going to say, where's this incident across with the papers and stuff like that, or use it as mum going shopping, who's had a shopping list to achieve things, got out, high five the kids, right? So anyway, then the next day, I come home from Asda shopping, and I was meant to do that night, but because I'd lost my phone, I didn't go over, and I used my bump, and I couldn't find my card. So anyway, found my card, went to Asda shopping, and when we got back, I had to get a taxi because obviously my car was on the road. In between this, after the garage matter was closed, oh no, I did mention it. The car getting taken, so they've reported it. Truck turned up, live it, of course, didn't happen. So then I have two CP police officers greet me at my car. I don't let them come in. I get Dean to come down, get the shopping, get the boys, take the boys up the door, and I take them over to my neighbour's who's got a camera, and I sit outside there. Yes, she's got a camera. Yes, she's checked. Now, the day before, my neighbour had been arrested, so that was trauma, and also we'd had a armed response vehicle in the area. Now, the night after, there was a big bust on a house around here where they went up over, smashed the door in and everything. It was fucking horrible to watch. So anyway, as far as I'm concerned, matters are over. They're in agreement on this on the website. And then, of course, there is fucking two police officers at my house at 11:30 at night. I do the normal, stand at the front door, things in with the house. They make the decision that they're coming in, whatever. And I'm not really going to fight them on this because I know who's in the house and they don't know. They trap me in the doorway outside, both of them bump up against me. So I keep everything in my hand. I've got my laptop up and I'm showing them, and I talk to their camera and I tell them again, as you enter this property, you are doing so under my duress. You are not actually entering with my permission. You are formally raping me. You are entering my home against my consent. The moment one police officer come in, they flit around the whole house, opened up every single cupboard into my home, went into my boy's bedroom. They were removed from my boy's bedroom and told not to violate my boy's personal space. And they were kicked back down through the stairs. And also they wanted the art cupboard. Then, of course, they wanted to know who was in the middle room. I told them you'd have to ask them, but it's the children's father. They said they needed to know. Entering into a room with Dean's art, not very good now, is that? So they thoroughly went through our art cupboard, by the way. Now, not very nice hearing all your cupboards going bump, 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 bump. Yeah, as somebody's going around your house, told if you wake my children up, mate, that's another matter. So anyway, I issue a complaint against this after they are removed from the home and leave. I issue a complaint on their video, and I also issue a complaint over the phone immediately. In fact, I even ring the police while they're even on the phone saying, you've got officers here who you need to be removing from your property because they're here under slander, defamation, false information, as already proven by video that the previous police officers have already seen and confirmed that this is not true, hence why the matter is not going to court, and you've kicked a welfare thing onto me. So anyway, that's 11:30 at night. I'm really not fucking happy. So anyway, the next night I'm up literally writing constantly, haven't been to sleep, boom, 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 writing dates, time, proving that this is actually somebody online doing this. So then this person online tries to make it that my neighbours have made a complaint about everything going on because obviously clearly I've posted something at home and I'm at home. I've asked all of my adjacent neighbours. We've all had very interesting conversations. They've now addressed their website because they know the police are involved, even talking about all my neighbours and all of this. Honey, the only issues that my neighbours have got is you people sending the fucking issues to the door in the fucking first place, and then me having to take my fucking stand, which is not nice when somebody like me is in high trauma, especially when I've got my children around and it's you people doing this. So anyway, we can back this up to something a little bit more deeper, and this is the problem. I don't have access or qualified to make this investigation. The only people that do is Hampshire Constabulary, who are. The complaint is in, it's all gone through. They have already proved that all of the stuff is fabricated and lies. And at the end of the day, it can either cease at that, but I want the paperwork omitted because this is all darts and stamps on somebody that doesn't need this paperwork because he's going to court over Aaron and Faith. So I'm going to go and get it all omitted and taken off me because I can also prove that this has been going on for 7 fucking years. I can prove that this has been going on for 9, and I can prove that this has definitely been going on for 12. Whether my mother and my sister are behind the website is another matter. If they are, I suggest you back off, stop it, because I'm going to put the people behind the website in prison. I didn't put my rapist in prison. I didn't put the people who gang raped me into prison. I didn't put the people who have committed domestic violence to me in prison. I haven't put the people that have kidnapped my kids in prison yet. But I've had enough. And I'm willing to put any single person that the judge wants to commit to prison into prison, and I'm going to walk away with my hands clean. I've never wanted to put people in prison because of my Uncle Sam who served time innocent. And I've always believed that I have a condition that people don't understand. I choose to vlog and bring awareness for a reason, because we in the EDS community need it. We have a condition that people don't understand, and we get failed as a result of that, and we get abused. And children spend a lot of time in mental institutions because they're not understood or believed. And that happens with a lot of diagnosis, and it's wrong. And then people that are vulnerable get trafficked. And I have a new house, and I'm staying with the Red X because the original Red X is mine. Like I said, I was there when LZ7 was going into the charts, and they performed with my church. So that's where it started. They travelled, but obviously the big thing was there, and then obviously Creation Fest and a couple of other things. So that was 2007. Yeah, 2000. Met Stephen in 2007, so it might be 2009. I need to double check. This is why it's so important that everything is, because if I get one bit wrong, it's all discredited, and I can't allow that to happen. So anyway, then while I'm sitting up writing, Dean is asleep, Elijah and Shiloh are asleep. At 12 o'clock at night, I end up with 2 police officers, and I take the laptop out, I shut my door, and I lock my door. And I stay in my hallway outside there, who back me into my door, who are very insistent that they are coming in. And I make it very clear that they're going to listen to everything I've got to say before they even enter my home. And again, that they are entering my home rape. What you are doing is you are raping me, you are violating me. And if you enter and try to even leave with my 2 boys, you will leave downstairs. In any way that I feel that I can protect my children, you will not be going anywhere near. It's all on video, on their camera, and it has all been caught. The times and the police have been at my house from cameras here, and yes, they are cameras. The police were really good, apart from when the fact they said, Kelly, you're not going to like this, but I'll have to speak to Elijah. And I said, not at all. If you want to speak to Elijah, you can come back. I'll work with you, you come back. Yeah, so far, at the end of the day, even though the people who have caused this, and it is online people, and it is connected to this website, whether they want to take responsibility or not, they are the gang leader, and they're going to go and sit in prison. And I don't care if it's my mum and my sister. They're still sitting in my prison, because my mum and sister deserve it, because they did this to me when I first went out in the media, which is what prevented me going on to the next stage. And that wasn't nice. Okay? They're sitting with me and fucking preparing me for doing speeches and throwing me what people might hackle. That's different, but not publicly. You don't ever do that to me publicly. Now, at the end of the day, I don't care who is behind it. I'm just submitting all of the evidence of everything, even down to calling the police on my birthday when I did the dance. Everything, a lot. Every smear campaign that's ever been on me. Because it does cause problems locally. But I get the chance to iron that out with people, because they come and speak to me and they get to know me. And then they discredit you people and say, I'm not surprised you're doing what you're doing. Nobody likes to have to deal with a bully. Now, the difference is these bullies wouldn't have the audacity to come and knock on my door and come and speak to me and even have a coffee with me. They wouldn't have the audacity. They hide in accounts. They hide in fake names. They hide behind a website in my name. They wouldn't have the balls. The one woman as well who I know has been involved, who's not the creator of the website, but she's one of the parents within this whole network. And there's loads of people. I'm not going to meddle with your karma right now, as I say the next bit. 2 police officers were removed out of my house telling them I ain't no crackhead, I ain't no smackhead, I ain't no fucking alcoholic, and I ain't no mother you can fucking jack up to come into my fucking house and take my kids out of bed and take them off to some fucking paedophile circle. Now get out my fucking house! And they left. And then said, Kelly, would you like our numbers for your complaints? I said, yes, thank you. And went to the door and hooked them up to my gate and went, now you met my boundaries. I won't tolerate it from a civilian, police officer, a social worker, a judge, an MP. Any false information presented on me will be done under whatever laws I don't know now that I will learn within the time that I research and the people around me that are helping me. Just like the word misfeasance in public office, I know that it stands on it because it was a solicitor who wrote it across the notes in my previous case. This is misfeasance in public office. Whether I learn too fast or too slow is nobody's business but mine. I am no race with anybody else. My airways are going, so I'm going to have to go. An hour and 16 minutes for somebody who's got to learn to talk for 4 hours. I'm nowhere near. And that's nobody's right to judge but mine. And whether I choose to continue, despite the challenges that I have with my condition. If I don't stop now, I won't be able to breathe. So to the storytellers, you can't paint a picture that you never created. You can't frame me in your perception or your reality that is 100% false. You're fabricating information. You're lying. You're distorting an image of me. I don't really care about my reputation. My reputation will be whatever people perceive me to be as. But when you're messing with actual paperwork that can warrant a child protection officer to walk into my home, traumatise me and my family, invade it, even Dean is fuming, mate, and he's cynical. Nobody knew he was here at that time, but he's cynical. And he ain't happy. And he's in London at the moment, and he ain't happy. And he'll be back here at some point. Whatever happens to mine and Dean's relationship, I don't know. But Dean has 2 boys with me, and they're his. And these people have caused him trauma too. They won't be distracting me, and you won't be stopping me, and you won't be preventing Elijah from doing what he wants to do with his own new website and YouTube channel, which is why you've got to be taken down. And I've got to make sure that you're in a situation that you learn to never do this to anybody, because at the end of the day, Elijah has always had the right to do as Elijah's eyes. It's Playmobil he wants to do his box openings with, and I have every right as a mother to be the coach, mentor, and trainer behind my kids and work and serve my children. And people don't have a right to defamate my character, because what really annoys me is you're playing with my heart, you're playing with my intentions. I know what I created Step Up Britain for. I know what I know because I know it, because I was there and I listened and I wrote notes, and I didn't like what I heard. I didn't like the attitude of people that when you talk about, let's just say, let's put a load of alcoholic and drug workers with a load of entrepreneurs, yeah, and let's see what they've got to say about the people outside the front of Asda. And what a lot of people in this world would do about the people outside the front of Asda. What a lot of people would do with people like Josie, who's doing well with her baby, by the way. So anyway, To the people that want to send these people to my door, you're getting arrested very soon. But not on your time, on mine. When I'm ready, when I complete it. Because this is about me getting an upright MRI scan. You denied me the chance of going to Arizona to meet with all the specialists. You denied me the chance of doing what needed to be done. You denied me the chance of doing the Spinnaker Tower and getting the awareness another way. And you also denied me the right of probably actually going to Sid's funeral, or at least doing something for Sid on his funeral day. I couldn't be asked with this shit. I really can't. And I think if this is how people who have had their children taken or part of that network behave, then I got a kayak to go and jump into. I really have. And people in the same boat ain't drowning my two boys. And I've already told people, mate, and I've told the police, and it's believed it could be Brian Gerrish behind all of this. I don't know. But at the end of the day, if my children were taken out here the other day, like it could have been, because of these cunts, yeah, I won't be going no placard waving. I'll be going with bullets to people's head. And I've been told, rightfully fucking so, people would fucking expect it from me. So back off of me and my kids. If you don't like what I've got to say, fuck off and don't watch. If you don't want to be around seriously, and my YouTube will be what I was about. I am Kellie, and I love sunrise, sunset, and making fucking memories in the bloody damn middle, yeah? And I love doing it as a family who raises her kids and travels with her kids and has nice days. But I also like to lobby, and I also like to fundraise for fucking organisations that do some really fucking powerful good work that help people. So stop hindering. Fuck off, get away from me. And Hampshire Constabulary, I don't fucking trust you cunts in there as far as I can fucking throw them. And if you ever come in my house when I am on my own without Dean in this house, mate, you don't get past my fucking door. You've raped people. You've taken people's children. You've trafficked children off in the fucking dirty nights. And isn't it funny that Aaron and Faith were taken at 9:30 at night at the same fucking time off to foster carers who were already expecting them for information they didn't even have at that particular point. And isn't it funny that there was a lot of frenzy around me with the papers and the media and all that stuff? 15 minutes of fame. I've been in the fucking media my whole fucking life, you fucking idiots. And I don't want your fucking 15 minutes of fame. My name don't matter. It's my message. Now step up for fucking Britain, because they're coming for your asses whether you like it or not. And they're going to knock you into the point that you're fucking evicted on the fucking streets and they've got you in full down fucking control. I tried to warn you. I tried to put a bridge out for you. I tried to put a safety net out. There's been thousands of other people trying to help as well. And you've treated us like fucking cunts. I don't care who's behind the website. It's none of my business now. It's up to Hampshire Police. And it's not even going to there. It's going to Scotland Yard as well, because this has been going on in other areas. Now, the website was created 2 years ago, but there's a pattern in every time I go to Parliament, something happens. So I don't trust the government right now. I don't trust the people behind the website. The only person I trust is the Lord himself. I trust myself, and I trust the two boys that are growing on around me. Dean, until his name's cleared. My mum, my sister, till their name's cleared. Amber, until their name's cleared. Everybody else, until your fucking name's cleared. I have a house phone. If you don't have the number, you ain't no friend of mine. And I'm here. Oh, the elbow just come out. And I will say it. I was born in Portsmouth. And if I choose to live in Portsmouth and be in Portsmouth and put my children into any network in Portsmouth, I'm warning any local people. You treat my boys with utmost fucking respect, mate. You don't come anywhere near them unless they want to be around you. You don't steal from them. You don't lie to them. You don't try to manipulate them. And if you're not kind, then I suggest you be careful. If you're not educating my children, that's going to help them thrive and do what they love and be the best people that they can be, the best men they can be, then I suggest you stay away from it. And I've got a dog that will keep you away. I've got a father of my boys that will keep you well away. And if you want to bring any nasty shit around my boys, you've got me to deal with. And they're not going into any freaking institution. They're not being labelled by anybody. They're not having any of this bullshit around them. And Elijah wants to get on with his Ghostbusters videos. And if you want to sabotage my boys from having the best damn life that they can have with two parents who love and adore them, who actually really love each other, and if you want to hinder my justice for Liam, Daniel, Aaron, and Faith for a medical neglect case, then keep on. But I'm going to put your ass in prison. And I'm going to make it my fucking destiny now to make sure that people that do this to people like me and many thousands and millions of others get to see the consequences of their actions. Seriously, I will be here when I choose to. I don't even want to get my phone sorted at the moment because I'm not even I'm not even reading your comment right now. I'm not willing to deal with anybody around me that doesn't understand exactly what's going in my life. I've been broken out because of this in terms of money. It's not fucking funny, mate, because now I'm going to lose my website again. Now I'm going to lose all my backups again, all my insurance again, and I'm going to end up back at square fucking one. But at least I've got a sofa, the rent is paid, and that's all good in it. So it really, really is a fuck you to absolutely everybody right now until my bucket is full. And I'll probably see you all probably 2025, and I'll be asking the United Nations, where's your disability equality, yeah? Where's your so-called equality for people with conditions? Because I don't see much equality for people with conditions. In fact, I think it's really fucking disgraceful, and I'm not surprised that most of the sunflowers still don't want to come out because of the intolerable suffering and abuse and persecution and defamation they get from ignorant people who think they're so damn perfect. You think you're perfect because you don't have a condition or you haven't got some form of trauma. Really? Go find Jesus, mate. Let him save your soul. Anyway, I need to sign out of YouTube. I need to sign out of Crackbook. And I need to go and see what bollocks is going on over at Crackbook. And I've not even read the comments. Charlie, only person that I know a face to. Don't know him personally, but I feel safe with him around there. That's okay at this particular point. Not somebody that's in my home. Got a lot of boundaries. And actually, it's nice to have familiar faces. I have lots of familiar faces around me. But for you to get into my personal zone, no. I might let you into my mind group, but you'd have to pay for that. Have a nice day now. And to the people who have supported me, you've all sat back and watched this happen. So please don't say you've supported me. Now, how do I turn this fucking thing off? Have a nice day. This is what? Very late here in the UK. And this is the only chance that I've had some peace and quiet to be able to reflect and refrain on everything after being traumatized and put into fight or flight in reaction. And my reaction was a non-molestation order on them immediately and a complete investigation into the people behind this. And now I don't stop until I'm through court. No, have a lovely day. I really don't like being patronising. It's not very nice, is it? Do you know what, Charlie? Thanks for being here, mate. And please do tap your head, say hello. It's nice to see you. And thanks for letting me know that there was some other trolling going on as well. So take it easy. Good night. And whatever trauma you've got with, it's all right. Just deal with it. Whatever the problem may be, there's 5 solutions or more to every problem. So see you later. I don't know how to fucking sign out. Come on, how do I sign out? I don't know how to do this on my laptop. My phone's so much fucking easier. Seriously, if someone picked my phone up and I lost it, please bring it back. I really need it. I've got insurance, but seriously, I'm locked out of so much stuff because of my 2-step authentication, and it's going to really lock me out and fuck me over. And my direct debit's not gone through from the website, this guy, or fucking nothing, all because of this. Great. Really, you're really, really helping, aren't you? Really. If you can't help, don't hinder. Not I don't want to edit it. No, you won't sign me out. Fuck off out my account. Seriously, Amber. I really miss it. I mean it, mate. I mean it. I really can't have people around me who do that. I really can't. I can't have you around me. Go, go, go. Leave. There you go. That's one down. Now where's the next one? Oh, I must learn how to use this fucking studio. End stream right in front of me.